Okay, so here's the situation. I have this bay window with 3 sides, and I want to have a curtain rod that runs continuously from one side to the other in a smooth, simple curve with no interruptions so that you can sweep the curtains across the window. And I haven't really seen anyone do this in the way that I want to do it. I saw someone make a curtain rod out of PVC, but they had supports in the middle. And I saw someone else do a continuous curtain rod in the way that I'm thinking, but it was made out of wood using a lot of equipment that I don't have. And it was still 3 straight segments, so it wasn't quite what I'm thinking of. So I'm gonna try to do a simple design that has the curve and also doesn't take a lot of equipment or materials. I've measured these 3 panels here, and I've determined the maximum length that we would need for a curved rod, and it can't be anything more than the sum of those 3 segments. So I went to the store and I got something bigger than 9'2", which just happens to be the lengths that they come in the first place. So this is 3/4 inch Schedule 40 PVC, which I'm going to make the rod out of. And it's about the right thickness so that you can bend the rod into a curve when you're setting it, but then it's not so flexible that you can't get it to hold its shape. So these are all the materials that I got for this project that are not the rod itself. I'm going to make the 2 end brackets out of this assembly here. This is just a 3/4 inch iron flange that you can get at Home Depot. This is a 3/4 inch iron elbow, and this is a 3/4 inch PVC fitting. The 3/4 inch PVC fitting is going to be bonded to the pipe using the PVC cement. And the 220 grit sandpaper is just to roughen the PVC up so that we can spray paint it and everything will look uniform and good. And then the concrete is to put in the pipe to stiffen it up. And this is really the crux of this whole project, is how do you get this stiff rod to run all the way between these supports. And if it were too much longer, it probably wouldn't work, but I think it will work with this span. Okay, let's size up an initial cut here. Okay, so now that the rod is a decent length, it's pretty close to the actual final length, we want to attach the brackets on both sides of the bay. And we want to make sure of a couple things here. So we want to have the horizontal and the vertical offsets the same on both sides, but we also want to make sure that the elbow is screwed into the flange tight enough in the final position so that the friction is good enough to restrain it. We don't want to have to be bonding these 2 things together later on. Okay, so this is looking good. We got the first one in here, and there's the right amount of friction. You know, there's not so much that we can't get it out without bashing it, but there's not so little that it's going to rotate when the weight is applied. And just a reminder about this point, because an entire rotation around the flange is quite a bit for one of these elbows. So if you just screw the flange in any which way, you might find that you're stuck either getting too little or too much. So just make sure that there's a good, nice in-between there when you line the holes up. Here goes one of several moments of truth. The first of several moments of truth. Come on. Ooh. Not feeling the truth here. There we go. Now, how saggy is this? Fairly saggy. Okay, so even though I warned myself and anybody watching about this happening, it still happened. So the joints are just not stiff enough. And this is not really an excusable mistake, but it's just where we're at. Now, I already rotated these flanges a 1/4 turn in the tight direction, but it seems like they need at least another 1/4 turn. To be honest, this doesn't look very bad. In fact, even if I put them right in the middle, it sags a bit, but not that much. It's probably okay like this, but I would like to do a little better. And it's occurring to me that if I camber the PVC by rotating the joints at either side a little bit of a turn, I might not have to bother with any of this concrete and steel wire stuff that I had planned. So See what that does. That works like a charm. I twisted the support a bit at both ends and looks great. Alright, so sorry you couldn't see me spray painting those, but it got dark and a week went by. So these are the components, and here's the rod. I'm not very good at this whole spray painting thing. There's some uneven coverage and some blotchiness. I tried to fix it with sandpaper. It doesn't matter. It's good enough for now.